Sound check, sound check, sound check, sound check, checking my sounds. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to GEEXX Plays. I'm going to try and do a brief review of Diablo 4's expansion, Vessel of Hatred. And I guess we'll start now. I have played the new Spiritborn class, so I'll talk about that a little bit and talk about other stuff. So, into the game we go. So, at the end of Diablo, Lilith was defeated. Nyrel took the Soul Stone in which we had imprisoned Mephisto and was traveling off to some distant land to try and find a way to do something about that. That distant land wound up being Nahantu, which is this whole section of the map here. This is actually a pretty big section. It looks bigger than it really, because we have this big blank section we can't get into. So when I first opened the map, I thought it was bigger, but it's still as big as any of the other sections. It is as big as one of the biggest sections, so pretty good sized. Well, let's go back. Let's go where we can look at it. Go to Crust. I guess I should have gone there before I started recording. But as you can see, it has kind of like a South American Aztec style motif to the designs. The plant life as well does look very, very, very South American jungle. You know, did I say South African? I meant South American. Very South American jungly stuff. There's a new cat mount, which I think is very cool looking. There's actually a couple that you can earn by playing the game. Oops, wrong way. Where's the Stable Master dude? Stable Master. You've got, a couple different colored lions. There are others you can earn by doing achievements. I only have this mount armor, which is kind of badass looking, really. So, back out of here. Get back on my mount. And just show you some of the countryside. The theme of this expansion is basically that Mephisto, through the Soul Stone, is basically corrupting the surrounding landscape in some way, shape, or form, and summoning these little horrors. The Spiritborn class is based on spirits. So if you look at the skill tree, you can see that we have centipede abilities, which are poison, jaguar abilities, which are fire and attack speed, eagle abilities, which are lightning and crit based, and then gorilla, which is basically damage of being tanky. I am currently spec'd almost entirely in the eagle skills, except for one defensive gorilla skill. And it is very mobile. I can bounce around the map a lot, create little whirlwinds of death here with lightning, shoot little feathers of lightning. It's pretty cool. I've tried 3 specs. I've tried the Jaguar, Centipede, and now Eagle. And I generally tend to do, before I do hybrid builds, I do one entirety. The only reason I really did the gorilla skill here is because in the defensive area, defensive skills, there were no eagle skills. So I had no way to defend myself. You've got 2 focus skills. Vortex, create a cycle and pulls enemy towards you. But it's not really a defensive skill, it's more like a crowd control skill. So I wanted to have something to defend myself with, and gorilla, being the tanky one, has 2 separate defensive skills. And, no focus skill. So they kind of swapped this off a little bit, I guess. I don't know. I have not tried the gorilla spec yet. I will probably do that at some time in the future. All 3 of the specs that I've played are all really strong. Like I said, I like the mobility of this. Just being able to bounce over here. Bouncing around the map all the time. Just boom, boom, boom. It's very quick play style. You can really bounce around a lot. One of the things I have noticed is that the special, each class in the game has a specialty related to them. You always have your skill tree, but then you have a secondary ability. And in this, you can have passive spirits that are giving you additional bonuses. And what those, like Eagle has, every 4 meters that you move, your critical strength increases by 4%. I think it only goes as high as 7%. But you can swap out, like Jaguar gives you every 15 times you deal direct damage to enemy with Jaguar skill, you unleash additional strike, dealing 15% of the damage you have dealt in the last half a second. Movement speed, hitting enemy with the enemy skill reduces their damage, it slows them. So there's all little passives like this. So like all skills are not centipede skills, all skills are not gorilla skills. So if you look down here, this says ultimate eagle and gorilla skill. So because all my skills are gorilla skills, any ability that says casting a gorilla spell, a gorilla skill has your bonus, it works. So this class is very, very much designed to be a hybrid. You are very much incentivized not to pick a single spec to run with. You are very much incentivized, and the thing is designed for being picking one of each to play with and just picking your favorites. So in a way that's very, very good. But one thing I have found is that when you get into your Paragon tree, that hybridization makes it difficult for me to pick what I should do here for my sockets, for my glyphs. Like there's one for each, like eagle skill, jaguar skill, so on and so forth. But I'm not really sure what to do once I've done my eagle skill stuff. I'll just have to work it out as I go along. I still need to unlock this glyph socket. They have changed. They've changed the Paragon system. They've changed the level caps. Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Previously, level cap was 100. From level 1 to 50, you got skill points. From level 50 to 100, you got Paragon points. Now they increased it to level 60, so you get skill points. You have more skill points, but you also have they've added more. They've given you 10 more skill points to play with, but they've also added more passives to each character. If you look, the ultimate tree has a ton of passives. So yeah, they've given you more skill points to play with, but they've also increased the complexity and given you more tools to play with as well. They've given you extra Paragon points as well. It used to cap out at like 250 or 260. Now you have up to 300 Paragon points. But they've limited the number of Paragon boards you can have to 5. Used to that you could have just as many as you could build points into for the glyph bonuses, but now it's capped at 5. I think they've done a really good job designing this. They replaced the Altars of Lilith with the Altars of Akarat. These really don't do anything but get you reputation. If you find them all, you get one of the cat mounts. So you basically get a cosmetic reward, as opposed to the Altars of Lilith, which gave you permanent. These give you permanent stat bonuses, like bonus 2 points to strength, or bonus 2 points to dexterity, or whatever. So this is just an achievement. There's no real benefit otherwise to doing this. Not necessarily a bad thing. Just it was cool to find these all, and they made you stronger. You find these all, you get a different mount. So kind of a meh thing. I did it, obviously. I got the cat mount. So to end game activities. Oh, hold on. Another thing I want to mention that they did was they brought runes back to the game. This is the thing from Diablo 2. With some caveats here. You can't... runes by themselves don't really do anything. You basically have a rune which will generate you some sort of energy, and then another rune that will spend that energy. So this one invokes the Spiritborn's Vortex, dealing damage and pulling enemies in. So whenever I built up enough energy, and you can see these little purple things down here, this grants Earthen Bulwark, which basically gives me a shield to reduce my damage. This one creates a little vortex that will pull enemies towards me. These are both like the vortex is good for quickly killing packs of enemies. You can pull them in and just zap them down. And then this is good for if I need extra defense. And since I exclusively play a hardcore, I need all the defense I can get. This class is very squishy. The reason I am playing as an Eagle spec is because my Jaguar spec died before I even hit level cap, and my Centipede spec died because I got disconnected during a boss fight. So, kind of sucks. The changes to the way the levels work, cap instead of going level to 60 instead of level 100, and that once you hit level cap, you just build Paragon points. I have some misgivings about that. It's better in some ways, but kind of not in other ways. They've also changed the difficulty settings. It used to be you had, difficulties 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now they have normal, hard, expert, pentient, torment 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, I think it's okay, but I think the old system was just fine. I think some of my problems with some of the changes that they've made is that they basically made this play almost exactly the same as Diablo 3. Diablo 3 had the exact same difficulty settings. I think they may have gone a little higher. You also have, where's the map? Here in Karagar, you have the pit, which is basically the same as, I can't remember, one of the dungeons. They had this, it's basically a timed dungeon where you get a bonus at the end if you beat it. Diablo 3 had the same thing. I think they've made some positive changes, but it feels like they've changed it too much to be like Diablo 3, which I liked it better when this had its own theme and feel to it. There's still at the Tree of Whispers, where's that? You still got the pit here, not the pit, Malignant Burrow. Some cool endgame activities. Echo of Hatred is there. Hanged Man's Hall. You've got some cool endgame activities. They've added a raid, where you definitely need multiple players to fight it. You can't do it by yourself. So far as I know, there's only the one of them, but I'm hoping they'll release more to kind of give us more endgame activities to do. What other changes? A weird change, kind of a minor change, I guess. Where's Karagar? I mentioned the pit. The rewards you got for doing the pit and doing nightmare dungeons. Where's nightmare dungeon stuff? Yeah, the nightmare dungeons. They've swapped the rewards. You used to get crafting, like high-end crafting materials for doing the pit, and doing nightmare dungeons leveled up your Paragon glyphs. Now it's the exact opposite. So it's like, okay. It didn't need to be done. Oh, they've added a new, like, the Dark Citadel. It's another thing. Oh, that's where you get the quest. But the Dark Citadel is actually over here somewhere, by the Spirit Brazier. And it's another time dungeon. And you get bonus rewards based on how well you do, how many monsters you kill by the time you get to the end. Basically, you come here to do the Brazier, you can give it a thing, you can give it one of these little special tributes, which will increase your rewards. Like I got a unique one here, which I will probably have to do because it looks like. But all these little offerings reduce the amount of time you have to beat the dungeon. But I have to try that. I haven't tried it yet. The story itself does continue. I think it's decently written, but not as well as the base game. One of my complaints with the story is that when Nyrelle left, she looked like she was leaving from this port here, and like sailing into the sun. It looked like she was sailing off this direction out in the middle of nowhere, But no, no, Nahantu's like right over here. Like literally, you start the game and you're like pointing across the river. It's like, oh yeah, there's your boat. It's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So they made it seem like it was this big, faraway place, and it's right over here. That's the criticism they have. As far as the gameplay goes, the game is fun. The little side quests, of which I have a couple here that I have not completed because they're bugged out. The NPCs I'm supposed to talk to are not here for me to talk to. So that is a complaint. There are some bugs. Oh, we got companions. I don't know if you noticed, this little dude right here is following me. I picked him because he's very tanky. And again, playing hardcore. But you can teleport back to their lair. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. And there are all kinds of different companions here you could hire. You could hire Altkin, who is like a demon child, but spellcaster. You got Rahir, who is a tank. You've got Variana, who is a berserk warrior, and Subo, who is like an archer. And you also have a bartering where you can, as you level them up, as you level up your companions, as your mercenaries, you gain rapport with them. And as you do, you get additional stuff from them. Once you reach rank 10, every time you progress in the rank, you basically get more marks to buy stuff bartering with. So, you know, it's basically just another way to get some loot if you want it. I have not played with anyone but right here. You can equip 2 of them as a reinforcement. Basically, you set up, you set up a condition which will then activate this ability. Like when the player becomes injured, place a trap. This can only with a chance to stun your enemies, but you can do other things too. You can, so reinforcement has like a special ability that can only be used on when certain conditions are met. But then your hired mercenary has these abilities. They have their own skill tree, which you can level up. Each one has their own separate skill tree with their own separate abilities, and it's cool. You have your this little the den here has you've got a blacksmith here, you've got your stash, you have your jewel crafter, so it's a little versatile little place you can use, and you can travel in and out of it. So as far as it goes, I think this is a good expansion. I have really enjoyed playing it. I think my criticisms are, even though I think I went on for my criticisms for a little while, I think they're fairly minor. But having said that, if you're not the kind of person who obsesses over endlessly running, boss loops, you can target farm certain unique items for the boss fights, yada yada. If you're just playing it for the story, I think it's good for that. Good for what it is. It's fun to play. But I think that with them changing the level cap and reworking the way level cap works, there's really no need to progress unless you're going to grind out the Paragon levels. There's no need to do it anymore. Previously, because you leveled up to 100, if you didn't use your Paragon board, you were severely underpowering yourself because all the monsters in here were like level 75 and 80, and if you didn't have your Paragon board ability set up, you were in trouble because you were missing out on a lot of damage and defenses. Now it's like, okay, I beat the game. Unless I'm going to the higher difficulty levels, my Paragon board isn't necessary at all. I'm at Torment 1. You can see I've got 145 Paragon points. I've got 4 Paragon glyphs active. I've got each of these to level rank 15. So where they're more, where they, when you rank up, it increases the radius size. So it's giving you more of a benefit, more power, and a wider area. Cool. But before, you kind of needed your Paragon board to get to level 100. So it feels less necessary. So I guess if for those people who just wants to endlessly grind, or enjoys like the, who enjoys like doing the hell rifts, doing the end game dungeons, doing these little daily quests and stuff, it's perfectly fine for that. But for someone who is looking for something a bit more than just a grind, a reason to play beyond the grind, it's kind of lackluster. It's just it's not bad. It just doesn't interest me. Oh, excuse me. That was my lunch. Sorry about that. If I had to rank it, like A+ down to an F for failure, I think it's a B+. It's a lot of fun. It's a good expansion. It's well designed. The storyline is decent. The fact that they've added a fair amount of endgame content does make it worth doing once or twice just to see it and to do the stuff. But it's become more. I'm rating as low as that because it's become more grindy. The loot really isn't locked. The loot really isn't as locked as it used to be. You still won't get any ancestrals until you set the difficulty to Torment 1. You're not going to get any of the good endgame loot until you're in here, but you also don't need any of it. You used to feel the need for it previously. Now it's just like, okay, it's a cool thing you can get if you want it. So it's they've made it better to set your own difficulty level, but at the same time, having the game be difficult on its own was an incentive to play. So it just doesn't kind of appeal to me as a player. It doesn't give me what I want as a player. But a lot of people like the end game grind. A lot of people who play World of Warcraft do the daily grinds for that. People play this for the daily grinds for this because they enjoy it. And I'm not knocking if not knocking if that's your thing. It's just not my thing. I like having a reason to play beyond the grind. So when the grind is emphasized, it's always going to be a negative for me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I give it a B+. Decent. Is it worth the money? It's half the price. Base cost is half the price of the expansion. We get one new zone for the price of these 5 zones. So I think it's a bit overpriced, but not too bad. It's almost worth the money. I'd say if you can get it on sale for like 10% off or so, definitely go for it. Either way, I had a lot of fun playing this. I've leveled this guy to Paragon 145. I got the other guy to like Paragon 90, I think. My centipede Spiritborn. I got him to Paragon level like 90, I think. So I've certainly played the hell out of this for the last few weeks. It's got my money's worth. Seasons. I will say that. This season 6, which is what this little Realm Walker is very lackluster. That's one thing most people have agreed on. The rewards are lackluster. The event is lackluster. It's okay. It's not bad. You basically have to fight the Realm Walker, go in the little portal he creates when you kill him, kill the stuff in there, and then maybe you might rank up enough to get a reward from here. There's nothing to it that it's just another level grind, which is fun the first few times. I haven't bothered to get my rank my reputation with them all the way up to max like I usually do. I've gotten all the free seasonal loot. I don't pay for the seasons, in spite of the fact that some of the stuff is kind of cool. The mounts look cool. I'm not spending $10 to earn cosmetics anymore. I spent more money on cosmetics than I ever should have. I'm not doing it anymore, in spite of the fact that I'm tempted. But anyway, that's my opinion. You're welcome to disagree with me. You're welcome to provide comments. I'd like to know what you think of it. As always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. And until next time, good hunting.